This is the house that we will be building today, and this is the backyard of that house. It has a really nice pool, little gardening area. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're starting with this shell that I constructed myself. I'm just adding the texture onto the roof first, and the first swatch I tried for the walls was that brick, and it actually looked really nice, so I ended up keeping it. And then I was experimenting with roof trim here. Um, I find some roof trim is way too thick, but I like the one I chose. And then I kind of use the same fence for every house I use, every house I build. I really like the way this fence looks. It looks really nice, really clean. Um, and it also works for inside for stair railings, stuff like that. And then I realized my porch was, for some reason, a layer above everything else. So I was fixing that, but you can see the curved edges on that porch. It took me a little while, but I finally got that sorted out. Um, I do like those rounded edges on the porch. It was a little bit of extra work, but I think it's worth it. And then here I'm just adding that rounded corner to the other side as well. And I'm adding the fence in, and now we're just putting in our stairs next. Yeah, the windows, they were raised up slightly for some reason when I fixed the foundation, so I'm just fixing those real quick. And now here we're adding in the stairs. And I just use these white wooden stairs because I end up using a white wood on that porch anyways. And then I use the exact same wood just in the brown swatch for the interior. And then here I'm looking through paint colors, and I end up going with that light blue. I think it looks very nice. And here I'm trying to map out where I'm going to have the stairs, which I do end up making those a 2 wide stair near the end of the build. So here I'm deciding where to put the kitchen, what counters to use. I end up using the Jungle Adventure counters, which they actually look really nice here. I have never actually used them in a kitchen before. So this was a first, and I think it turned out really nice. And then I was kind of conflicted on where to put the stove. Usually I put the smoke alarm right above the stove, but I didn't end up doing that today. I put it above the fridge. Should still work fine. Don't see why it wouldn't. I do really like on the end pieces and the long pieces of these cabinets, all the plates in them. They're really colorful for these cabinets. And then I usually do that in the corner. And then I believe, yep, we're adding a little island in here. The island took a little bit of adjusting. Usually I put a half wall on that other side, which I do end up putting in. I just hadn't yet. Yep, there we go. Nice half wall. I extended a little bit to accommodate the stools. And then the half wall trim, I never know whether to put white or dark brown to match the floors or the rest of the trim. I ended up going with dark brown. Logically, like realistically, you would probably go with white to match the rest of your trim, but I think the dark brown actually looks really nice. And then I'm just adding my kitchen details, some fruit bowls, a little dish tray, and I'm alt placing most of this stuff so that you can actually use the counters for food even though there's stuff on them. And then this soap dispenser would not fit right, so that took some fiddling. Again, alt placing, it's kind of hard when you don't have the counter there. And we finally got the soap done. Okay, moving on. Yeah, just adding a couple more little details. I like this little fruit platter. I think it looks very nice. And then we will be moving on to the dining room next after we add in this railing, which I think I actually end up not using. Okay, so dining room. I'm using this sized up rug from the City Living Pack. I think that is a really pretty pattern that I have never used in a house before, so I end up using that. And then I do swap out this table setup. I believe I go for the long glass one. Yep, there we go. And then just kind of your standard IKEA chairs, which not a great design choice, but I usually end up going with those chairs. And then I'm just using a sized down little plant on here. I really like adding tons of plants into my builds. It really helps the space come together. And then this little palm plant always looks amazing no matter where you put it. I usually size it down one because otherwise it's just too big. And then we will be putting the living room in next, after I add in this fruit bowl. Can't live without the fruit bowl. Here we're just experimenting with decorations. And here we go into the living room. That's the couch I usually use, and I always put those little floor mats in front of and behind the doors that go into the porches. It just makes it look a lot more realistic and nice. And we're doing a really simple living room, just one couch, a little TV, which that TV usually isn't that little. I ended up sizing it down one. And that piano I ended up not using. I ended up putting a little desk with a computer there instead. I used the Snowy Escape desk, which is really detailed, but I think it fits the space well. And again, more plants. In my opinion, you can't really overdo it with plants. Like, there's not really a way to do too many plants. Now we are moving on to the upstairs floor. And this floor plan was challenging because of where the stairs were, the size of the house, stuff like that. It was not the easiest to lay out. And there is actually only one bathroom in this house, so no master bathroom. Just one little bathroom upstairs, which it's not an issue. I would have preferred to put a powder bathroom on the first floor, but I ended up not. I ended up reworking this floor plan here. Again, yeah, it was a really challenging floor plan. I think it turns out nice in the end, though. And those side tables, they don't actually perfectly match the color of that bed wood, but I think they match enough that it still looks good. And then the same dresser from that pack. And in the child room, actually, we'll get to that later. Just putting the doors in everywhere. Oh yeah, we added in that railing for the stairs, finally. And you can see I expanded that to be a 2-wide staircase. So this is going to be our one and only bathroom. The shower tub combo didn't look right, so I ended up only giving them a tub. So not the most functional house for actual gameplay. You could swap that out if you wanted to. I chose not to. So now we're just adding details into the bathroom. All my usuals, the soap dispenser, toothbrush holder, I add a bathrobe, hand towel, and bath towel. And then I will be adding a bath mat in later. Just adding a little carpet into the master bedroom. Believe it or not, that is the master bedroom. Pretty small for this size of house. I really like the size of this house though. My previous video, I furnished a very large house, and that's just not my cup of tea. I don't entirely love the way that house came out, but this house, I really like the way it ended up. I do love the brick exterior. I rarely ever use brick. And then we're just putting a little art room in here. Very nice, lots of natural light. And we didn't put a door, I just put a big open archway thing. I don't actually know what to call that, because it's not an arch, but I don't know, it looks good. And I love the Parenthood pack, the furnishing for that. The bed, the dresser, and the side table, they all go together so perfectly. I love that pack. And I'm just adding some activities to do in this kids' room. And that little activity table is also from the Parenthood pack. And then experimenting with rugs. There's not really a good rug for this size of room, this type of room, just long, skinny room. So I end up using kind of like a shower mat. Yeah, I end up using a shower mat rug, and that reminded me to put a normal size shower mat in the bathroom. But yeah, I ended up putting a shower mat rug in the kid room, sized up a ton, and it doesn't look that bad if I'm being honest. And then this table, I actually really like this little hall table. I have only used it once before, that was actually in my previous video, and I loved the way it looked, so I ended up using it in this house too. And again, more plants, the better. And I'm now realizing I went searching for a coat to put up a little kind of closet thingy in the master bedroom, and I ended up just putting the coat rack downstairs and forgetting about that. So in the future, I'll make sure to add that little coat rack inside the master bedroom. It's okay though, we all make mistakes. And here I am just adding some plants and things. As usual, more plants. I end up replacing that plant. There we go. And coloring those flower pots. I don't usually do that with these plants, but I think it looked really nice in this house. And we're nearly done. Just adding a little table under the stairs. I don't know if I end up doing that. Yeah, I don't put a table there. Just putting paintings around the house. Painting above the stairs, just adding paintings on some of the empty walls, and I did reuse that painting from downstairs, but I think it looks okay. And then I couldn't find a good painting to fit here because of that window there. I do end up finding a decent one. I tried to shrink that one down, but it was just too tiny for the space. It was really challenging because of that window. But I end up going with this square painting. Looks very nice. And then I was trying to put a chimney on, but it just did not look right. I couldn't get it to sit properly. I tried a different chimney. Both of them I had sized down before trying them because they were just huge for the house. But I ended up not using a chimney in the end. And then I had to replace the foundation because when I redid that porch, it took the foundation away. Just adding in some trees. I tried sizing up that tree. Didn't look right. Too big for the lot. And then I was experimenting with terrain paint. Usually I use the lighter one, but the darker one actually looks way better, so I'm going to start using that darker one for under trees. And then that lighter terrain paint I always use for around sidewalks, under porches, around the house, stuff like that. And here I am, just adding that paint all around the foundation and the house. It just makes it look a lot more real, like it's actually a house sitting there on the land. And then I add little details under those fence posts too. And then now I'm just erasing any extra that I did. You don't want it to look perfect because it's dirt, but you don't want really huge mistakes either. And then I was trying to find a good path. Couldn't find a good one for that front there. I tried multiple paths, none of them looked right. I end up going with some actual floor tiles. Not tiles, sidewalk concrete basically, but I ended up not using terrain paint for the path. And then I forgot to add the dirt detailing to that sidewalk path after I put it in. Again, another mistake, but that's okay. And then the landscaping, I have to admit, the landscaping I do for this house is really simple, not much to it. I just put little flower bushes all around the exterior. I probably could have done more, but again, landscaping is not my strong suit. And I was going to put these trees in, but they just didn't fit having the other trees also there. I experimented with different trees. They just didn't look right. And these little bushes, they have little yellow flowers. I end up using these all around the house. And I was alt placing a lot of them, but I ended up just tile snapping them in the end and replacing a couple of them. I was trying to add more details with some of those lavender bushes, but honestly, for this house, the simpler the better. And we're just adding these all around the foundation. Again, really simple landscaping for this house. I could have done way more, but I chose not to. And here I am adjusting them so they actually snap to the grid and are not alt placed. And now I'm adding my dirt detailing under all these shrubbery. And then we'll be moving on to the backyard next. And again, I'm taking my eraser tool and just erasing any extra dirt that's in here. Then I'm adding my usual grill. We're putting in a little pool, really nice pool. Don't worry, I am going to put in a ladder. I know they no longer need ladders to get out of the pool, but I still put a ladder in. Makes it look nice. And that blue decal at the bottom, couldn't get it to fit right, but it's okay, it looks fine. And then I'm putting just a little table and chair set up with the little umbrella next to the tree. I think it looks really nice there. And then I put in some gardening stuff and a towel for sunbathing. That's part of the island living pack. So your Sims can actually get a suntan. They can also get a sunburn though, so you gotta be careful not to let them stay on the towel too long. And then I'm adding my detail around these planters. There was too much dirt there, so I ended up erasing it and trying it again with a slightly smaller shape. Took me a couple tries, but that's okay. And now we're just adding in this pebble pathway. Very nice. I really like this pathway. I haven't used it very often, but I'm going to start using it more. And we're just extending that to the pool, making sure it all looks real nice, and I do end up putting some little bushes here too. I had to go in the debug menu for these bushes because there just were not enough options in the regular menu. There we go, into debug, and these are the bushes I end up using. Very nice, I like them. They look very pretty there. And there we go. I totally forgot. I had forgotten to add some posters into the child room, so it looked very empty. But we're doing that now. And if you want to see any of my builds or use any of the shells, I upload all the shells and completed builds to my gallery page. I upload them all to the gallery. My gallery username will be in the description below.